includes
Nesse vídeo, você vai aprender.
Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, I have discussed about how can working with the local storage and also the session storage, right? Now friend, in this video, I want to create one of the projects. So that will be very easy one of the project, and with this project, step by step, we'll learn little bit the JavaScript. Laterly, we'll do multiple projects. So together, all that project experience JavaScript, I hope it will be very easy to you. Like first of all, our first project I want to start. So if you go to your exercise folder, into this exercise folder, as I told you, after end of this course, I will share this folder with you. And here I have already created one of the folder as a project. And into the project folder, you'll get another folder as a monster finder. Okay, here that is one of the template. I have already created one of the template. There have some of the icon, there have some of the index CSS, HTML file, index.js file, and the monster file. First of all, I want to copy this folder. Okay, I copy this folder, and now in our JavaScript in desktop, I have already created one of the folder as a JavaScript, right? Here I want to paste it. So that is a monster finder. First of all, I want to take this folder in our Visual Code Editor. If you want to take it, simple work. I hope you already know that is a file, and now go to the open folder, desktop, and that is our JavaScript folder, right? Into the JavaScript, that is a monster finder. I simply select this folder, and now you can see it's now successfully loaded everything. It's now successfully loaded one of the icon SVG as one of the index.css that have some of the simple CSS I simply created for make these things done. Okay, like there is one of the index HTML file, index.js file. If you go to that index HTML, you can see that is very basic, some of the index HTML file, all that is static data. Okay, there is all that is static data, and that is the index.js. I have already linked up with the index.js. You can see I have already linked up that script in our index HTML file, and also there is the index.js. So here we'll actually do a lot of work, and then in our monster.js, so into this monster.js, they have one of the simple API. Okay, like here I pass some of the data as a name and then email. Like there is a ID1, ID2, ID3, ID4. So that is all that API data. We'll actually use this API data. Okay, we'll use this data. And if you go to index.html, right now, first of all, I'm to open with the live server. Our live server is now running. You can see that is very simple. One of the design here, there is one of the monster picture, they have one of the name, and also they have one of the email address. Okay, and here that is one of the search options. As you see, there is a monster finder, right? That means with here we will search some of the monster, and then all that monster user will be loaded. So that is our mini project. So in this section, I will discuss about that things with you, how can do that work. Okay, and also if you go to index.html file, into this index.html, you can see there is one of the title. So this title is now visible in here. That have one of the name, and they have also one of the search box. So for the search box, you can see that is one of the form. So here we have to work into this form area, and also there is one of the div. Here you can see there are one of the images, and then they have some of the src. If you change that ID, like I just make it as S8. Okay, if you click as a save all, now that is will be loaded another image. Click as a refresh. Now you can see it's now loaded another image. Our name, and then that is our email address. So that is our name, and then the email address, and they have also another div as a no monster found. Okay, that is one of the 404 page. That means, as I told you, here we'll search by the name or by the email address. Okay, here if you search it, if you get any data, then that will be display all the data, rather than that will be display as a 404 page. So how can do that work with using the JavaScript? In this section, I will step by step show you that things with the live example. So for doing this, first of all, we have to create one of the element with DOM. How can do that work? In our next video, I will show you that things with the live example. Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, here we set up our total project, right? That is our mini one of the project, and here we successfully run it. Right now we don't need this. I simply close it, and now if you go to our index.html, into the index.html, that have one of the element. You can see that is one of the element as a one of the form, and also after that there is one of the monster. So now for the first time we have to make it, we have to create some of the element with using the DOM. I have already discussed about little bit about the DOM. Now we will actually apply it into this project. Like first of all, there is one of the div. If you select it, you can see there is a div is ended, and also there is another div. So now I want to create some of the DOM element, both of these. So there is a name, there is one of the images, there have one of the name, and then the email address, and then there is a 404, and then no monster found, right? That means this part I want to load it with the DOM element. So if you want to do that work, first of all you have to do here, I want to take these two of this div. Okay, I take this div, and also I want to take this div. I copy it. Now we have to work in our index.js. As I told you, here we have to work, right? But I want to put some of the comment out. Okay, that means that will be as a star, that will be started, and also I want to finish it, and then there is a comment out. Okay, here I simply paste it. I want to create one of the DOM element. Okay, I want to create this DOM element, and also there is another one. So let's do that work. For doing this, what exactly you have to do, I hope you already know about it, because I have already discussed about that things with you. I take one of the variable as a constant variable, and I just name it as a monster. Okay, monster. So this type one of the variable. Then if you want to take our first part that is one of the div, right? I want to take this div, so that will be as a document, and then the create element, right? I want to take that as a document, and then the create. Okay, that is a create element. So with this create element, I want to get our this div, right? So I simply take this div. Great. And after that div, they have one of the class. That means we have to get this class name, right? If you want to get this class name, what exactly you have to do? I have already take this div into the variable as a monster. So now with this monster, I want to access that class name. So there is a class name. Our class name is what? Our class name is a monster. Now I want to take these things in here, right? So our this div part is totally fine. Now I make it as with the DOM element. So now there is our DOM element as a div, and then the class name. Great. And after that, they have one of the image, right? After that, they have one of the image, and also they have the images, they have the name as a p tag, also there is another p tag. So for the images, I want to take another variable as a constant variable. I just name it as the image. Okay, for the image, the procedure will be same, that the document and the create. Okay, document and the create element, and with this create element, first of all I want to take our element as an image. Okay, I simply take that as the image. Great. And after that they have the one of the image src, right? They have on the image src, and also there is another alter tag. I want to take both of this. So if you want to take it, that will be the image and then the src, right? That is the image src in here. There are one of the link. I want to take this link. I simply copy it, and then here I paste it. And also after that, there are one of the alter tag. That means the image and then the alter. Okay, alter tag. That is the image alter tag will be what? Image alter tag. Here they have one of the name as a Kazarian. I copy it. That will be as a Kazarian. Great. And after that, there is a p tag, and there have also one of the class name, right? And then there is some of the inner text. I want to take this part also. So if you want to take it, what exactly you have to do? First of all, I want to take that constant variable, and I just name it as a name. Okay, name will be as a document, and then the that will be the create element, right? That is a create element. So with this create element, first of all, I want to take our element as a p tag. Okay, I simply take that as a p tag. Great. And then what exactly you have to do? They have one of the name, right? They have one of the name, and also they have one of the inner text, right? First of all, I want to take both of these. I want to take that as a name, so that will be as a name, and with this name I want to use that as a class name. Okay, our class name is what? Our class name here, our class name is what? Our class name as a name, right? So I simply take the things in here. That is our name. Great. And also there is another one as inner text. So we have to also get that inner text. So that will be a name, and then the inner here better I want to change that name. Okay, it's not getting that properly. Better I make it as a monster name. Okay, I make it as a m name, and then with the same name I want to access that name. With this m name I want to add that inner text. So that will be the inner. Okay, inner, you can see there is an inner text. So I simply take that inner text. Our inner text is what? Our inner text is here as a Kazi Aryan. So I want to take that name as a Kazi Aryan. Great. Okay friend, I hope it's very much clear to you. And now also we have to do the same things for the email, right? First of all, I want to take one of the constant variable and I just name it as email. And for the email, that will be the same with the documents and then the create element, and then I want to take it, that will be also as a p tag, right? So into this p tag area, and then the email. Okay, in this email, first of all, that will be as a class name. So class name. So that will be as a class name, and class name as a here class name in particular that position as an email, right? So that is an email. I simply take that email, and also that have one of the inner text. So I want to do with this email. With this email, I want to use that inner text. So our inner text is what? Our inner text is as a info@easylearningvideo.com. I copy it. I simply paste it. Okay. I hope friend it's very much clear to you. Okay, so now if you want to check it, here now we have to do, first of all, I want to append all that our images, the p tag, and then there is a name and then email, right? I want to append it in our this div area as a monster. So if you want to do that work, I have already taken that as a monster, right? That is our total div. Now into this div area, we have to append that images, name, and then email. Right, so there is a three things we have to now add. If you want to append it, what exactly you have to do, that will be as a monster, and with this monster area I want to call that append method, and into this append area I want to append first of all the image, right? So here that will be only the image, and then the that is a monster name, and then I take another variable as email. Okay, I simply load all the things in here. So now if you want to check it, you can also check it with the console log. Okay, console, there is a console log. Into this console log area, if you now run with the monster, now let's check this out, what exactly that things it should be look like, then everything will be more clear to you. So it should be display out this total div. Okay, that means this div. If you want to check it, now click as a save all, now go to our project, now click as a refresh, and now I want to go to that inspect, now go to that console. Yes, you can see it's now perfectly loaded our this div. That is a div class as a monster, and then the image is successfully loaded, alter tag is loaded, the p class name as a name, our inner text is also visible, p class name as an email, and inner text is also visible. I hope friend it's very much clear to you. Here we successfully dumped all that element data. How much easily we can do that work, I hope it's very much clear to you. So now if you want to make the things in one place, then better I want to create one of the function. Okay, into the function area I want to load our total things, and then that means you have to create that function and just name it as a show. Okay, monster. Okay, show monster. So this type of one of the method I want to create, that will be one of the function. And into this function area I want to take our total things. Better I cart it from here, and then into the function here I want to paste it. Okay, I simply paste it. Now I want to call this function. If you want to call this function, simply you have to display it. Okay, I simply loaded this function into the top position. That means our first part is done. That means here this div is totally complete. Now we have to work in our this div. Right, so if you want to do that work, what exactly you have to do? First of all, you have to create that DOM element. So if I want to convert it to the DOM element, so if you want to convert it, then our procedure will be just like that same. I take one of the variable as a constant variable. Okay, here I name it as a not found. Okay, I name it as a not found div. I just simply name that as a not found div, and then that will be as a document, and then the same our create element, and into this create element for the first time that will be what? That will be here. You can see that is one of the div, right? I want to take this div. Great. And after that, here into this div area there are one of the class name, right? There are one of the class name, and also there have one of the style. So here we have to take both of these. So then what exactly you have to do? That will be a not found div, and we do this not found div. Here there are one of the class name. I want to use that as a class name, and class name is what are exactly that class name? So that is actually our class name, right? I want to simply paste it. Great. And also there is one of the style as a display none. That means that will be not display. Here I want to use it. That will be as a not found. That is a not found div, and with this not found div I want to access that style. So that is the style, and then the display. right? That will be as a display and display as a here, display as a none, right? So I want to do and to pass these things in here, that will be as a none. Great. And also after that, that is another span, and into this span they have one of the inner text, right? So here also we have to work in it. That means first of all I want to do and to take another constant variable, that is a constant, and I name it as a span. I name it as a span, and then that will be as a document, and then the create element, and with this create element first of all that will be as a span, right? So that is a span. I simply take it. Great. Now with this span, okay, with this span I want to do to access our inner text. That will be as inner text. Our inner text is what? Our inner text is here as a 404, right? I want to do and to take it as a 404. Great. And after that that is one of the h1 tag, and into this h1 that have some of the inner text. Simple work. Now I want to do and to take another one as a constant, and I make it as a h1. Okay, h1 will be same as a document. I hope friend you enjoy it very much. It's very easy one of the process. I take as a h1, right? That is our h1, and you do this h1, there have only one inner text, so that will be the inner text. I simply loaded this inner text, and this inner text will be what? This one. Okay, with this icon I want to do and to use it. So that is our icon. Great, perfect. So now that should be great. So now here that is our total div, and this div I make it as a one of the DOM element. So now that is our DOM element, right? And now if you want to check it, you can also check it better. Here also one things we have to understand, like that is one of the div, right? Into this div area here we have to append which things? We have to append that span, and also we have to append our this h1 tag. Okay, so here also I want to do to better append it. So if you want to append it, what exactly you have to do? That will be the not found div, and then that will be the append method. Into this append area here I want to do to append both of these. So I want to append that span and then h1. I have already take both of these as a span, so that will be as a span and then comma and then h1. Okay, I simply take both of these. And now if you want to load it, that means into the console. Okay, into the console log. Into the console log area, if you want to load that not found, okay, that is a not found div. If you load it, then everything will be more clear. So that will be just like that same. Okay, now if you click as a save all, now if you go click as a refresh, now you can see it's perfect. So that is simple things. That is a div, class name is visible, style is visible, span is visible, span inner stx is visible, and also in our h1 inner HTML is visible, right? That means it's now perfectly created our DOM element, which is totally fine. And here before I use one of the function, right, I also want to do and to create another function for this. Better I want to do and to create another function as a function, and I name this function as a not found. Okay, not found function. So that is our function name, and into the curly bracket here I want to do and to take our total div. I simply cut it and then I paste it. Okay, and I want to do and to call this function here. I simply call this function. Great. I hope friend every part is very much clear to you. So now friend I want to append it. That means in our this monster, into this main monster, there is one of the div, right? So you can see there is one of the div. If you select it, it's started from here, and into this div area I have already DOM this element as a div element, and also I DOM this element, right? Now I want to append it. I want to append our this first one, and also there is our another one which I have already created, right? So now that is our main div as a monster. Here I want to append it. If you want to append it, what exactly you have to do? In our index, here that is our show, and that is our monster, right? Here I want to append it. That is a monster append. So I want to do after this. Okay, after this. So here first of all that will be as a document, and into this document now that is will be as a query selector. Remember, that is our query selector. So now with this query selector here I want to do and to get our in our which place that will be append. Okay, here I want to do and to take our this div name, that is our monsters. Okay, so I simply copy it and then I simply take it. In fundamental, I have already discussed about that things with you. So that is our query selector. Into this query selector area, which dev area I want to append. First of all, we have to take this dev. Okay, so here that is dev. Here in particular that position I want to do to append, right? For the reasons here, I take that our dev name as a monsters, and after that monster here I want to append. Okay, I want to append this data. That will be the append method. So that is a append method. I want to append our which things. I want to append our these total monsters. So monster means here I take the things with this monster. So now first of all I want to simply take the things in here. Okay, now if you click as a save all, now that should be display another one, because there is another one and also there is another one, right? If you now click as a refresh, yes, now you can see now that is display as a 2. That is comes from our HTML and that is comes from our DOM. Okay, I have already created this element for better understand in our DOM. Into the DOM I want to make it as a Kazi Aryan 1. Okay, I make it as a Kazi Aryan 1. Now that should be very clear. Now in our index, into this index I name it only that Kazi Aryan, and into the DOM I have already created this DOM element as a Kazi Aryan 1. Now if you click as a save all, now go there, click as a refresh. Now you can see now that is actually comes from our element, that is a DOM element as a Kazi Aryan 1. Okay, I hope friend it's very much clear to you. So right now we don't need this HTML all that element. I want to do in our index.html, into this index.html, that is one of the monster that I have already take, and also I have already created this part, right? Better I want to do and to remove this part, and also I want to remove this part. Okay, here also I want to append this data. So if you want to append it, that will be just like that same. Better I copy it, and now that is our 404, right? For the 404 here you can see after this I want to paste it. That will be what into the append, that will be our not found, right? That will be the not found, that is our same dev, because into this dev area here that will be loaded, right? That will be loaded our not found dev. Great. So now if you click as a save all, and if you want to display this not found, but I want to make it as a comment out. Okay, now because here there is a style as a display none, for the reasons that will be not display. Okay, now click as a save all, and now if you go, now that should be gone. Click as a refresh. Yes, you can see now there is only one, and also you can see it's now display as a 404 and no monster found. So that is our DOM element is visible, and also now that is visible in here. Okay, I hope friend it's very much clear to you. The concept is very much easy concept. So if you make it as open, so right now there is one of the style display as a none, for the reasons that should be not display for the first time. Click as a refresh. Now you can see it's not display. Okay, now this data actually loaded from the DOM. Right now in our index.html, into this index.html I have already removed everything, and I append all the data in our this dev, right? Into I have append this not found data in here, that is with the query selector, that is our monster step, and then append our this dev, and also I append our this one, right? That is our monster. Great, everything is loaded successfully. Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video here we successfully created the DOM element, right? Now friend, in this video I want to do they have one of the API as a monster.js, right? So into this monster.js they have some of the ID, they have some of the name, and they have some of the email. So I have already created one of the DOM element. If you go to our index, into this index here you can see I have already named it, and then that is our name, and also that is an email address, right? And also they have one of the ID. You can see they have one of the ID. As I told you, if you that is one of the API ID, if you change that ID as a 5, now that should be loaded another image. Click as a save all, and now if you refresh it, now you can see it's now loaded another image. That means in our API, into this API there have one of the ID. So this ID I want to make it as a dynamic in here. Okay, and also there have one of the name, and this name I want to load it in particular that position, and also I want to load our another one as the email. I want to load this email in here. Okay, then that will be interactive. So if you want to do that work, we can do it with using that ES6, one of the module, which I have already discussed about that things with you. For the first time, we have to do from here, we have to export it, right? That means that is one of the monster.js. In this monster.js, we have to export. So I make it as a export. Okay, I make it as a export. I want to export this. Now we have to import it. We have to import our this monster.js in our this index.js area. So if you want to import it, like first of all I want to do, that will be as a import. Okay, that is the import. I want to import our this monsters. So that is a API monster name as a monsters, right? I copy it, that will be as a monsters. Okay, perfect. And that will be comes from that. Here we have to add that path. Our path is into the same page, because here you can see that is actually the same into the same position as a monsters. If you click as a slash, you can see there is a monsters and .js. I simply import it in here. Okay friend, I hope it's very much clear to you. So now if you want to check it, everything is working perfectly or not, I want to, with the console log, with this console log, I want to display this monsters. Okay, I simply load it. So if you now click as a save all, as I told you before, it will be show some of the error. Maybe click as a refresh. Now you can see it's now show some of the error as the uncached syntax cannot use input statement outside a module. So if you get this type of one of the error, as I told you before, only you have to do, I have already included this index.js in our index.html, right? You can see that is an index.html. Here only you have to do, you have to use one of the attribute as a type. Okay, type attribute, and that will be as a module. Only you have to do, you have to add it, then this error should be gone. Click as a save all. And now if you go click as a refresh, now you can see it's now totally gone, and it successfully get all that our data. You can see right now they have the 28 data. All the 28 data is now successfully loaded. Okay, that is our all that API array data. If you go, there have the API array data. You can see that is all the data. Like right now as a 28. So now this 28 data I want to do and to load in our this index. Okay, so if you want to load it, what exactly you have to do? Here we have to run that for loop, right? So with this for off loop, we can actually do that work very easily. I hope you already remembered that part. That will be as a for, and I just declare one of the variable as a let. Okay, let as a monster dev. So this type of the name, I simply take it as a monster dev of our name as a monsters, right? So I simply take the things in here, that is a monsters, and that is our total loop. So into this loop area, now here we have to load our this method. I simply cart it, and in particular this for loop here we have to load it, right? Then that will be actually executed our total for loop. And then in particular that area also we have to pass this parameter, all that our data in here. So now we have to pass this parameter in particular that position, and also we have to pass this parameter in here. Okay, I simply pass it. I hope friend you get some of the idea here. I have already loaded this method, and this parameter I have passed it in here, right? That is our show monster method. So here what exactly we have to do? We have to first of all update that ID. That means that is the ID, right? So here that is all that ID. I want to update this ID. If you want to do that work here, better I want to use that as a backtick. I use that backtick. I want to close with this backtick. Okay, into this backtick area, if you want to access it, what exactly we have to do in here? First of all, that will be as a $sign, remember, and then the curly bracket and this curly bracket, and then I have already passed that parameter as a monster dev. So now with this monster dev, and with this monster dev, I want to access our field name as ID. If you go, you can see there is an ID, and then the name, and then email. That is our monster, all the data. Now I simply loaded that monster ID, and also I want to load it. That is actually altered name, right? So name will be same as a monster, and our monster name, our API name as a name, and then email. So I make it as a name. Okay, so then that will be displayed as a name. And also I want to do the same things right now in our inner text. Into the inner text, that will be our monster name, and for the inner text for the email, that will be as a monster, and that is a monster dev as our field name as the email. Okay, that means that is actually the email. Great. Now that should be loaded in here. I hope friend it's very much clear what exactly that things I have done in particular that position. So after that, that will be as a get that our ID, because in our API we have get that ID. You can see there is ID, and then the name, and also that is another one as the email, right? So now all that our that have the 28 data, so these data should be now loaded in here. It should be loaded that images, because only our ID will be changed, image ID will be changed, and I loaded that our name and then email. Okay, now let's check this out. If you now click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, you can see perfect. So it's now perfectly get all that our data. If you now close it, you can see there is all that our API data is now successfully loaded in here. Okay, right now they have the 28 and 28 monster data is successfully loaded. I hope friend it's very much clear to you how that procedure I have done. Simple work. Okay, here from to this position I export it, and into the index I import this minister all that API data, and then into the for loop. Into this for loop I loaded this method, because into this method I have already created the DOM, right? I have into this DOM area I have loaded that our name and then our email. So now simply I get all that our API's data, that is our for loop will be loaded one by one. It will be get all the data, and then that will be display the name and then email and also the image ID. Great. And now every data is now successfully visible. I hope friend you like it very much. Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video here we successfully get all that our monster data, right? Here we get all the data from our this API as a monster.js. So from to this position we get all the data and visible it in our front end. And how can do that work? I hope friend it's very much clear to you. And now in this video I want to work in our this search. Okay, here whatever the name you will search, that will be get this data. So if you want to do that work, so first of all we have to find our appropriate this file location, right? Into this file location if you go to our index, that is index.html, and into the index.html they have one of the form, like here you can see that is one of the form. Okay, so that is one of the form. So now into this form area they have one of the ID. You can see there is an ID name as a search monster. So that is one of the ID as a search monster. So also we have to get this data, whatever the things you will be type in here. First of all we have to get all that our key value. So let's do that work. For doing this we have to add one of the listener, our listener ID, that is one of the search monsters. Better I copy it. And now if you go to our index.js, and into this index.js after this, okay, after this I want to do, first of all I want to take one of the documents, that will be as a document. I simply take one of the document, and here first of all we have to get that ID, right? We have to get that ID, then that will be as a query selector. So with this query selector I want to get this ID. If you want to get this ID, as I told you before, that will be as a hash and then your ID name, right? I successfully get this ID, and after this I want to add one of the listener, that will be add event. Okay, add event listener. So into this add event listener, first of all we have to find out our type, right? Our which you can see it's also suggested the type as a key of event element map. So our type, that will be one of the key up type. Okay, whatever the things you will be passed, so that will be one of the key up type. I want to take it, our type will be as a key, okay, key up, and then I want to add one of the function. Okay, that will be one of the function. I simply loaded one of the function, and then I want to pass one of the into this function area. Here I want to pass one of the event. Okay, so I simply pass one of the event. Why I'm actually passing that event, I will show you what exactly that event actually contains. So in particular that position here I want to first of all take one of the constant variable. I just name it as a keyword. Okay, I name whatever the name actually you choose, that is one of the variable name, that is keyword. And into this keyword I have already passed one of the parameter in our function area as an event, right? So with this event then we have to go to the target, and then we have to go to that value. Okay, whatever the value you will actually pass it from to this our search box, that means that is our search box. Whatever the value will be passed from here, it will be get that value in our event. Okay, into the event there is a target and then the value. And I want to do what if you want to make it some of the capital character, I want to make it as a lowercase. Okay, so here I get that all value as a lowercase. So if you want to get that as a lowercase, what exactly you have to do, I hope you already remember that as a 2 lower, right? So that will be as a 2 lowercase. Okay, so I make it as a 2 lowercase. I simply call that method, so that is a 2 lowercase, then automatically that will be as a lowercase. And now if you want to check it, first of all I want to show you, then that will be very much clear to you. That will be as a console log, and with this console log I want to show that our this keyword. Okay, I want to display this keyword, and also I want to do for a better understanding, I also want to display that our this event. So I make it as a with the console log, with this console log I want to pass that e. Simply understand what exactly the things that will be actually do. I print as event, that means that is actually our parameter event, right? And then I pass it as event targeted value with the lowercase as a keyword, and that is our keyword. Now if you click as a save all, and now if you go and I want to refresh this page first, and now go to that inspect. Into this inspect, if you go to that console, okay, into this console, now whatever the things you will actually pass it in here, like I make it as a kazi, okay, kazi. And you can see, friend, it successfully get first of all there is a ka, and then there is a kazi, there is a kaz, and then kazi. That means one by one it's actually get all the data. Okay, that means that is all that our keyword. Here I display two things. Here I display one of the event, and also I display that our keyword. So what exactly that event? Event means right now if you go, like here you can see there is one of the event, there is also another event. If you open this event here, what exactly I have brought down? I write down as a e, and then there is will be one of the target, and into this target that will be one of the value, right? Now if you go, that means that is our event, and into the event that is one of the target, you can see that is a target. So if you open this target, and here you will get another value, like you want to do, that is the maximum, and then on, if you go right just down, and then there is another one, better I click it, and now that will be loaded another one. You can see that is the value, and this value what? As a kazi. I am actually write down as a kazi, right? I hope you get some of the idea why I'm actually passing that event. So now with this event I access the target, and that will be our targeted value. I get the targeted value. I get this targeted value with our this variable as a keyword. Okay, I hope, friend, you get this idea, and that is actually our value. So if you write down as a another one, I name it as a RDN. Okay, RDN, and now you can see it's now first of all get one by one all that letter. That is AR, and then the ARI, then one by one it's getting all that our character, and that will be our event. So now we have to do, we have to search it. That means, right, whatever the name you will pass it from here, that is our keyword, right? So this keyword will be searched in our all that monster name and then email, right? So with this it should be get appropriate all that our monster picture. So if you want to get it, then what exactly you have to do? First of all, we have to get our this key, right? If you go, that means I have already get all that our monster. You can see there is a show monster, and I just named that class name as a monster, right? So now I want to actually search in particular that position, because into this area there is one of the child, and one of the child element as a images, another one is a name, another one is a email, right? We have to search with by this name, and also we have to search by this email, right, friend? I hope you get some of the idea. First of all, I'm going to get our this monster, that means this class. If you want to get it after this, okay, here after this I want to take better one of the variable or the constant variable. I just name it as a find, okay, find monster, this type of another variable. And then what exactly you have to do, that will be as a document, and then we have to get that our query selector all, because they have the multiple monster dev, right? For the reasons here I want to do and to find add that our query selector all method. So with this all method I want to find out which things I want to find that our monster, right? So that will be our class name as a monster. And here there is multiple one I want to do and to make it as a dot, and then that is our monster. Great. So now it will be query in our this monster all the dev. I simply loaded that things in here. Now it's simple. I want to do and to run on the for loop one by one. That will be check all that our monster, right? So I name that one of the for loop, and then I want to take one of the variable as a monster. Let monster of our, I have already get all the data in our this variable, so that will be as a find monster. Okay, here I simply take it, and then I want to find out all that. First of all I want to check it, then that will be better. With the console log I want to find out all that our child component. Okay, that means that with this monster right now, with this monster I want to do and to get that children. Okay, that will be as a children, right? So that is a children. Children means what? Children means here I have already there is a name, there is one of the email, and also there are one of the images, right? So that is all that our class. So that is our dev class, and this dev class there is a children as the image, name, and then email. So first of all, I want to get all the things. Let's check this out. It's perfectly get all that our monster children or not. That means the children dev. Click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh. Okay, here I refresh it, and now I want to write down as a Kazi. Okay, Kazi, and now you see it's now perfectly get that all HTML collection. Okay, if you open any one HTML collection, yes, you can see there is a 0 index as image, 1 index as a name, and 2 index as an email. Okay friends, so I hope it's very clear. Perfectly we get all that our child dev, and into this child dev there is a first index is started with the 0. That means in our 0 index area that will be as image, 1 index will be as a name, and 2 index will be as an email. So now we need actually 2 of this, right? There is a name and then email. So first of all, I want to get this name and then email. If you want to get it, that means here. Okay, after this I want to do I take one of the variable as a constant variable. I just name it as a name, okay, or monster name, whatever actually choose. I name it as a name, and then with this monster, right, so that will be as a monster because that is one of the for loop. I have already get that our all data in here, that will be as a our this variable, right? Now into this with this monster that will be as a children. Into the children area I want to get which data? I want to get that 1 index data and then the 2 index data, right? So there is a 1 and then there is a 2. I want to get that 1 index data. So if you want to get this 1 index, then what exactly you have to do in here? So that will be 1 index. Okay, and I want to get that 1 index data inner text. So that will be as inner not HTML, but I want to make it as inner text. Okay, that is inner text. I want to get that inner text, and I want to take the things with the lowercase. That will be as a 2 lower case. Okay, I simply call that our this method. Great. And also I want to do the same things for our email. I take another variable as the email, and email will be with this monster, and then the children are for the email or index as a 2, right? If you go, you can see for the email or index as a 2. I want to get that as a 2, and then also that will be as inner text. Okay, inner, that is a inner text. I want to get that this particular email inner text, and also I want to make it as a 2 lowercase. Okay, I simply take that as a 2 lowercase. That means that will be get by this lowercase. So now if you want to check it what exactly the data is output, like I make it as the console log. With this console log I want to check that name. Okay, I want to check that name, and also I want to check that email, because here I have already take both of these variable. Like I take all that our child 1 index as a name, and then our 2 index as an email. So now if you click as a save all, I hope friend step by step everything is very clear to you. It's very easy if you understand. Okay, if you now click as a refresh, now you can see it's now display all the things. Right now I want to make it as a Aryan. Okay, I make it as Aryan. So yes, you can see it's now perfectly get all that our name. You can see it's now perfectly get that name, and also it's perfectly get that email address. Okay, there is email address and there is a name. That means right now what exactly we have to do? Now we have to that is whatever the keyword you will search it in here. Now with this, that will be matched with our this name rather than this email. Okay, it should be match, and if this match, then that will be get this data. So that is the simple work now we have to do in here. So if you want to check it, then that is another method as includes method. Okay, with this includes method I want to check in our email field area, that is this key. That means whatever the things we'll search in from here, that will is matching or not. Okay, so but I show you, I put one of the if condition, that is if condition, and into this if condition area our first work is the name, right? And then into this name I want to write down our method as include. Okay, includes method, and with this includes method here I want to pass our keyword. and that means that is actually our keyword, right? So I want to do and to just get all that our value, that means targeted value, and I take the things with this variable, right? Targeted value means whatever the things you will write down in here, that is our targeted value. I take the things with this variable. Now I want to do and to check it, and also I want to check it in our email, right? So that will be as or means double pipeline, and that is our or, and then email field, and into this email I also want to include, okay, includes. So that is includes method. I want to do and to declare this includes method, and here that will be also as a keyword, right? And now what exactly I want to do? Better I want to first of all check it. If it's perfectly get this data, then that will be displayed as a onto the console log as a done. Okay, this type of one of the message that will be returned. Now let's check this out, and here they have one of the error, in particular that position one is the error, and that is a keyword. You can see here we have to finish it. Okay, that is a keyword, and or it will be checked in our email with this includes method, that is our keyword, and that is our ended, and that is our started. Okay, perfect. And then that is our, it will be display as a console log as a done. Now click as a save all. Now if you go click as a refresh, so right now like that is a, one of the SAZE. Okay, I make it as a SAZE, and now if you go here, right now you can see it's now perfectly get our this name. Okay, it's perfectly matched. For the reasons it's now display as a done, right? That means it's perfectly working. Now we have to simply get this data and we have to visible it. So if you want to visible it, then here right now we don't need any console log. I remove this console log, I remove it. Okay, I simply remove it because now I want to display our this dep. Also I remove this, I also remove this. Okay, for education purpose I'm actually display all the things. Now in our this if condition area, when that will be match, okay, in our when it will be get that appropriate name in our name field or the email field, then that will be display, right? That will be display in our this monostar, that is our monostar, and with this monostar here I want to do and to pass that as style. Okay, that will be the style, and in style display, into this display I want to make it as a block. Okay, that will be as a block. That means if we get perfectly, then our block type will be executed. And else, okay, else I make it as a else it will be display as a none. So that is a monostar, and with this monostar then that our style, and then the display, our display class will be as a none. Okay, then that will be as a display none. That means it will be not display anything. Perfect. So friend, that's all the things you have to do. Okay, better I want to organize this code. That is our another one. Perfect. So friend, that's all. Okay, that is the all code you have to write down. And now I hope every line is very much clear to you what exactly the things I have done in here, right? And now if you go to our project, right now we don't need any console. Now click as a refresh. I want to search with the SAG. Okay, I make it as a SAZE. Yes, you can see it's now successfully get this data. Okay, it successfully get this data. And also if you search with the miss, I want to find out that the miss MISS, you can see it's one by one it's get all the data without loading that page. That is a miss. Yes, you can see it's now perfectly get our miss data which actually contained into the name area. If you want to search with the email, like as a Barsa, I make it as a BRIA. Yes, you can see it's also perfectly get this data. And if it's not appropriate, like here I make it as inappropriate, now you can see it's now making our another display like as a monostar style display as a none. For the reasons you can see it's totally gone. Okay, it's totally gone. That means everything is executed perfectly, right? I hope friend you like it very much. So in our next video, I want to display about our 404 page. That means when it will be get nothing, you can see now that is totally none. Here I want to do and to load our 404. How can do that work? In our next video, I will show you that things with a live example. Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, here we are able to successfully get by the name or by the email address, right? And here if you search it as a Grace, okay, Grace, you can see it's not successfully get this data. But if you search with inappropriate keyword which is not exist, now you can see it's now display one of the none. right? That is, I have already make it as a d none. That means here you can see I make it as a none. That means display will be as a none. So for the reasons it's not display nothing. So here I want to do, I have already take one of the div. If you remember, you can see there is a not found, and into this not found I have already created one of the div, right? That is one of the class as a not found class. So now I want to do, if it's not match, then that will be display our this part. Okay, that means this not found part, that will be display. If you want to do that work, it's very easy. Simply understand how that functionality exactly working in here. So for doing this, first of all I want to do here. So here I want to do in our before this for loop. Okay, here I want to take one of the variable. I simply take one of the with this let. Okay, with this let I name it as a not found. I name it as a not found. So this not found, for the first time I make it as a true. Okay, I simply make it as a true, and then I simply copy it. That means when that will be get perfectly data, then that will be display this data, right? Here I have already checked it, and when it should be get this data, I want to do this not found, I make it as a false. Okay, so I make it as a false. I simply make it as a false. So why I'm actually making it as a false? Because that is one of the div I want to do and to load it. Okay, after this I simply add another if condition into this if condition area. Here first of all I want to do when that there have any not found. Okay, I make it as a not found. When it should be get this not found, I want to do and to load one of the documents, the same documents div that I have already created. That will be as a query selector, right? So that is a query only selector. That is a query selector, and into this position I have already created one of the class, right? I have already created one of the class. For this part you can see that is one of the div. I have already make it as a DOM element, and you can see that is actually our class name as a not found. Okay, I simply copy it, and now that will be our this not found. Okay, that means this not found class. Here I want to do and to make that is style. That will be the style, and style display, and display I want to do and to make this as a block. Okay, that means if they have no data, then that will be displayed as a block. So I make it as a block. Okay, I simply make it as a block, and else when it will be not get any data, then that will be display, right? And if it's get this data, then that will be as a none. Okay, so here then our this part, that means this div not should be display. If you want to not display, then that will be as a none. Okay, I simply make it as a none. So friend, that's all you have to do. I hope you get some of the idea of what exactly the things I am doing in here. Now if you click as a save all, and now if you go and now click as a refresh, and I want to do to search it. Here it's not working. It's not working. Maybe I did something wrong. Here there is a not found. There is a spelling is correct as a not found will be as a false. Not found, you can see there is a spelling mistake, that will be as a true, right? So that is actually true. Now that is a not found is true, and then here I make it as a false. When it will be get this data, if this not found, that is documents will be as a block rather than it will be displayed as a none. Everything is look like perfect. Now click as a save all, and that is maybe that is actually the issue as I make it as a spelling mistake. Now I want to refresh it and to search it first of all with the grease, because yeah, it's, you can see it's working. And now if you search anything, it will be perfectly get this data rather than if you put inappropriate. Yes, you can see or this div is successfully loaded as a 404, no monster found. Okay, and when you just remove it, it's now become changed. That means here it's now become changed to what? It's now become changed to none. That means this 404 that will be not display. Okay, if it not match with this our data, then that will be as a block. That means in our block position, that is our not found one of the class. Here I have already called this class as a not found. That means this total div will be display. Okay, here I have created this DOM before. Now if you search it, yeah, it's perfectly working. If you make it as a something like that, which is not exist in our monster area, now you can see it's now display as a 404 and no monster found. Okay friend, I hope it's very much clear to you. So that is one of the simple project, but one of the most interactive things. I hope every part, every line is very much clear to you. Okay, so it's very easy if you understand that main core functionality, friend, as I told you before, JavaScript will be very easy to you. Make that sure you understand every concept. That is all that core concept, friend. You have to understand all that core concept. So here we successfully done one project, which is very simple one of the project, and we have done it perfectly. In our next video, I will start another session, and with this session we'll solve another project. Okay, how can do that work step by step? I will show you everything with a live example.